everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be discussing a pretty interesting topic, and definitely something I'd love to see talked about more. It's debating whether or not Deathbringer deserves to be punished for his kills. Does his past and environment growing up excuse his actions, or should he not be exempt from taking on some kind of responsibility? It's a very tricky topic to dive into, as everyone will have different opinions on the matter. But I'll be trying my best to go over what we do know, and then give my own thoughts. Obviously, there is no right or wrong answer here, as the circumstances involving Deathbringer being an assassin are not normal or ideal, which I'll be getting into. Tabby recommended this to me a little while back, and I'm really excited to explore the complicated character of Deathbringer with you all today. But before we begin, a huge shout out to my patrons. Dog1195, 3 Moons, 𝙒𝙗𝙗𝙊𝙍𝙁, Fizz, Thistle, NoobToe, and PyroNuke. Thank you all so much for supporting me. Links to social medias are in the description down below. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video. Like I mentioned in the intro, Deathbringer is a very complicated character. A lot of his company stems from the unusual and unhealthy environment he was raised in. The Nightwing Volcano was a terrible place. Not only did it provide awful living conditions, like smoke inhalation, a lack of sunlight, disease-ridden caves, and everything in between, but the dragons of the volcano were just as worse. The Nightwings at this time were already scheming on how to end the war with how they benefited, and so they didn't publicly profess a side, but rather worked with Blister in secret. They weren't involved in any of the battles, choosing to keep the mysterious aura that dragons saw from the tribe. By keeping up a wall of mystery, the Nightwings could get what they wanted without anyone knowing how weak they had been these past 2,000 years. In order to accomplish their goals in the shadows, these Midnight Dragons sent out assassins into the mainland continent. Assassins were trained from a young age, and that was really all they knew. They weren't even allowed to leave the volcano until a little bit into adulthood, as the Nightwings wanted to keep their secrets in the talons of the dragons they could trust. The longer they were manipulated, the better their loyalty would be. It'd be less likely for any mistakes that could cause them to lose the rainforest they were working to take over. The worst of these dragons were 𝙈𝙤𝙍𝙁𝙁, Battlewinner, and the other elders. They were the ones who came up with the prophecy, and they had all this death happen on the volcano and off. The assassins were born into believing that the Nightwings were the greatest tribe, and their goals needed to be accomplished in any way possible, even through killing. These dragons were told and taught twisted things growing up, and that murder through these methods could be justified for their cause. Deathbringer was one such dragon. His mother, Quickstrike, was an assassin, and he was born to be one of the next murderers sent out into Pyria. Quickstrike was his teacher, and she wanted her son to be sent with her on missions, despite him being underage. 𝙈𝙁𝙍𝙁 wanted Deathbringer to kill Slaughter or Vengeance, other talented assassins, in the night in order to prove himself worthy of starting his work early. Do you see how this kind of environment can really twist someone's mind? This was all Deathbringer knew for most of his life. Murder was encouraged, even amongst the Nightwing tribe. Even though this was a ruse and 𝙈𝙁𝙍𝙁 planned to have one of them kill Deathbringer, but the latter finished the job and took off his mother in the night, worried he might get caught. However, this is where things get a little tricky. The young assassin knew that murder was wrong and punishable, at least in some way, even before heading to the continent. He had nightmares that the tribe would find him and demand his return to the volcano, wishing he'd be caught for his murder. So Deathbringer had some kind of understanding that this was wrong, even if he might have just thought it was because they were trusted Nightwings. Deathbringer was eventually given tasks on mainland Pyria. His first real assassin job was to kill Commander Tempest, and he did so by himself. While he mourns his mother's death, he does really admit that he would put his care for a dragon before his mission, but he doesn't really do this until many years later. He was a dragon at this time, and it wasn't really until he was 12 or 13, far into adulthood for a dragon, that he lives up to this promise. Deathbringer would go on to kill countless dragons. Some were commanders and other important figures in the war, but it's not like he was killing in battle where murder is pretty much fair game. He was secretly assassinating in the night, taking job after job from the Queen and 𝙈𝙁𝙍𝙁. Even when Deathbringer was an adult, he was tasked to kill the dragonettes. And he was going to. He honestly would have, if not for Glory's interference and then his love for her. Which, yes, Tui did not intend for the age gap, but she accidentally created it with Assassin. Therefore, it is canon that Deathbringer was an adult at this time. I won't dive into that controversy, but I am taking his age as canon within the timeline, despite the original intent. He had some understanding that murder was wrong. While on the volcano, he obviously wouldn't have known much better. Deathbringer would have known by all his years in Pyria by now that it wasn't okay. He'd see it all around him because of the war, but this wasn't part of official fights. He was killing dirty. We don't know how many dragons Deathbringer killed, even as an adult. It's very safe to assume that it was many. So, while the Nightwing's murders committed while he was a dragonite can be pretty much excused, as he was just taught, murder is good, actually, and didn't know better, he definitely saw the effects of killing as an adult when he could freely take missions on Pyria. With the chaos of the war, Deathbringer got off totally scot-free. Do I think this is right? It's a hard question to answer because, again, his upbringing was far from normal. So while I don't think that everything was Deathbringer's fault, there became a point in time where I do think he should take responsibility for. There's no real right or wrong answer, but Deathbringer never showed any remorse for his kills. The least he could do to redeem himself, in my eyes, is to apologize to the families of the dragons he hurt. If he remembers the names of them or their tribes, he could be part of their funeral and take responsibility for what he did. I'm honestly pretty saddened Deathbringer hasn't done this. A lot of the dragons he killed during his many years of being an assassin were just people who the Nightwings deemed as worthy of death due to them getting in the way of their plans. Most of these dragons were probably innocent and not even actual killers, like Blaze. I think a moment where Deathbringer mentioned sending his deep apologies to the families and being there for their after-war funerals would have been amazing. He could have said how their loved one died and provided some kind of closure and respect. In conclusion, I don't think he should have gotten off entirely free. And to show Deathbringer's change and maturity now, I think we should have gotten a moment like this. And it should have been an idea he got himself, not just something Glory or anyone else made him do. That would make Deathbringer a near-perfect character, in my opinion. However, the fact that he shows no kind of remorse makes me feel a little weird. Even just one line of dialogue like this would have been a massive improvement, and tie up the development of Deathbringer in a way we haven't gotten to see from the series in anyone. It would be the perfect way to conclude his arc. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on Deathbringer getting away with it, and do you think he deserves any kind of punishment? I may honestly write a short story about Deathbringer visiting the funerals of a few of the dragons he killed. Let me know if you'd be up for that in the comments down below. Also, real quick, I have a very exciting announcement to share with you all. I contacted 𝙒𝙊𝙍𝙁, the company behind the Wings Cutie Cuffs, aka the first official WAF merch, and upon some exchanges between us, they are going to do something super awesome. They'll be sending me some cutie cuffs for free to review in a video. I'm very, very excited to unbox these characters on camera for you all, and I couldn't thank 𝙒𝙊𝙁 more for this amazing opportunity. It's not a paid sponsorship, but is so thoughtful of them to offer up the products for free. It's been such a great experience talking with them and getting this worked out. The cutie cuffs are about to ship, so expect the reveal video soon. This is going to be so much fun. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!